Paul Michel Foucault was born on October 15, 1926, at Poitiers, 250 miles south of Paris. His family were well-to-do bourgeois in a town that has remained a byword for French provincialism. His father was a surgeon, taught at the local medical school, and ran a prosperous practice. His mother was a strong-minded woman who managed her husband's finances, helped administer his practice, and daringly drove an automobile. Besides their townhouse in Poitiers, the family owned a small manor house in the country. During Paul Michel's childhood, they also built a seaside villa on the Atlantic coast at La Baule. This was large enough for a family of 5 and servants. Here the family spent their summer holidays amidst the pine trees overlooking a long curve of sandy beach. Father was kindly but stern. Mother was efficient but concerned. For Paul Michel, life at home with his older sister and younger brother was the epitome of normality. Such was the standard background of so many intransigent French intellectuals who have revolted against all forms of authority and bourgeois behaviour. Although he would strive to rebel against so much else, Foucault would not be able to avoid conforming to this Gallic stereotype, which had held sway from Voltaire to Sartre. At school, young Paul Michel was weedy and short-sighted. As a result, his schoolmates soon corrupted his name to Polichinelle, the French equivalent of the hunchbacked figure of fun we know as Punch. Freudians will be intrigued to know that he dreamed of becoming a goldfish. Such fishy ambitions were reflected in his academic performance. Although evidently bright, he never excelled. Even at his favourite subject, history, he only finished second. World events impinged little on sleepy Poitiers or Foucault family life. The seaside villa was built during the early years of the Depression. Hitler's posturings on the newsreels were dismissed with sophisticated ridicule in the press, and the blandly debonair records of Maurice Chevalier spun on the phonograph. When he was 10, young Paul Michel saw the first refugees from the Spanish Civil War tramping through the streets of Poitiers. 3 years later, Germany invaded Poland, launching World War II, and the family drove back from their summer holiday at La Baule for the last time. By the time Foucault was 14, the Nazis had invaded France. The French army was retreating in disarray, and even Poitiers was in turmoil. With the unbending ineptitude of an operating theatre martinet, Dr. Foucault supervised the setting up of emergency medical units in the town. In the background, his wife painstakingly smoothed ruffled feathers and efficiently ensured that things got done. Now wearing glasses, but still in short pants, young Paul Michel looked on in bewilderment. That summer, his exam results plummeted. Mother pulled strings to have him transferred to another school, whereupon the academic ugly duckling turned into a swan. This was to become something of a pattern. Foucault was to underperform at important exams, but then shine when he took them a second time. At the age of 20, on his second attempt, Foucault gained a place at the École Normale Supérieure in Paris. This was the intellectual hothouse where the crème de la crème of France's students were put through their paces. To be a Normalian marked one as a superior species for life. Normality has always been exceptional in France, and the super-intellectual Normalians were often a fairly odd lot. But even here, Foucault soon stood out. By now, the Punch of the school playground had developed into a decidedly prickly character. During the previous year or so, he had gradually become aware that he was homosexual. Such a thing was not only illegal at the time, in Poitiers it was unthinkable. Paul Michel couldn't even turn to his beloved mother for guidance and reassurance, and by this stage he had also fallen out heavily with Papa. The adolescent Paul Michel refused to follow in the family tradition and become a doctor. He just wasn't interested in medicine, and that was that. He would stamp upstairs to his room, slam the door, and bury his head in yet another volume of history. By the time he took the entrance exam to the École Normale Supérieure for the second time, there was no doubting that here was an intellectual thoroughbred. He finished 4th in the entire country.